Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're continuing our top 25 worthy series we're doing, and today's going to be more expensive bottles. Some of these you could find though. They're not super rare, some of them are, but we'll get right into it after the giveaway. All right, so this is for part 2 of this series, which I believe is the finished whiskey bourbon video, the finished ones. So the winner, 2 ounce samples of that, is Dennis Rothschild 8550. The email is in the description. Congratulations. All right, so the bottles that we're going over today are the Remus Gatsby 2025 edition and crazy. So these used to be around $240, $250. You know, I have the last 3 releases of it. This year they dropped the price to $150. So I don't know if that's MGP just seeing the market and lowering their crazy pricing, but this was $150 this year versus, you know, $90, $100 more the past couple years. And it still came in the, you know, the regular box as it usually does. Okay, so our second bottle is also an MGP bottle. I was almost about to do all MGP today, but then I realized most of the things I want to review are actually Kentucky based, so that's not how it went. Just went expensive is the theme. So this is Old Swagger. It's a 12-year, comes in a tube. This is hand blown glass. You know, it has a cool bird thing on the bottom in it. You know, a very cool bottle. I'm pretty sure I reviewed this on the channel before. If not, I've definitely had it in Whiskey Cigar Club. And this is $175 MSRP. I got this from a friend, so I'm assuming I paid around that. But this is MGP 12-year-old juice, 100 proof, bottle and bond. It's a very, very nice bottle. Okay, then we go into a pick. So this is a local Facebook group in Connecticut that did this pick earlier this year. This is the Old Carter guy that did this line this year. I also have an American whiskey one that's Old Sport, but this is the bourbon version. This is barrel 11, 110 proof. This is Kentucky, and from what I remember, I think this was, I don't know if I can even say it, but it's a legacy Kentucky distillery, one of the big ones. It was around like 9.5 years, but this was expensive. This was $275, and I don't know if that was a little bit extra because they went and picked it up. I don't know if that was like fuel cost too. I remember paying $275 for it. And then we also have the Bardstown Bourbon Series number 13. So this year's edition, and it's all Kentucky between 8 to 15 years. A good amount of 15 year, 20%. So hopefully you guys can see that. Obviously that's $140, $50. So all of these right around $150 to $275. So not the cheapest, but I figure I just got the Remus Gatsby the other day. It was in my Whiskey Cigar Club recently. It did decent. It was the first pour, which we started off at 102 proof. The Bardstown Discovery was also just in my Whiskey Cigar Club, just kind of re-review it again. And these have been in the past. So let's see how they do today and see if they're worthy to go to my top 25 tournament. Right, let's get into nose on A. Excellent nose on A. Red fruit, oak, sweet, blueberry, raspberry note. Definitely berries, a lot of berries. Nutty, dusty, fantastic nose. I really enjoyed A's nose a lot. I do expect to like all 4 of these. So, you know, I've been going into a lot of these videos thinking that I would go like all 4. Sometimes that hasn't been the case. I'm guessing these are all going to score pretty well today. We shall see. B on the nose. Okay, so B is brighter and darker at the same time. It's very confusing. So start off bright red fruit, some nuttiness, and then there was like the darker elements of like a slight funkiness. I wrote slight dank. So I definitely think I liked A's nose better, but not a bad nose on B. Just kind of both spectrums there. Okay, C. C's nose was an experience. Strawberry, yogurt, vanilla, which somewhat similar notes right there. And then went to oak, woody, some slight dark fruit, then back to like an earthiness, woody note. Not bad, but again, like a lot of these videos recently, different. And it comes down to that day's preference, you know what I mean? Okay, D was the lightness on the nose, like it was harder to get notes out of it. Sweet, dusty, a slight sourness. Okay. Okay, let's go into the palates. Oh my God, going back to A off of D on the nose, it's so orange forward. Wow, so citrusy. Wow, that is re-nosing them all real quick. C is more hazelnut now. D also a little bit more nutty. Man, that's like cracking open like peeling a fresh orange. All right, let's get to the palate. Well, I love freaking A on the palate, so that orange note that I was getting on the nose is now all over the palate. Oak, red fruit, sweet, milk chocolate, creamsicle, delicious. The finish though, quick, but first sip of the day, so we'll see. Usually the first sip of the day, the finishes are not the best judged, but all I wrote was oak, but we'll go back and see how it improves. Second sip. Palate's still the same. The finish got a little bit better. Still not the longest finish, but I did write sweet and orange. I was specifically looking for the orange note to see if I was still getting it. It was there. It's light. The finish is just too light. One more time. The palate, still the same. The finish is getting better every sip. I think it's just building on top of each other. I wrote spice on this time. Excellent pour. I think this pour would be amazing for someone that's a little bit newer to bourbon, meaning not like brand new or anything, but someone that wants to try something a little bit better. But these are all between 100 and 110 proof, right around that proof point. So none of them are going to be crazy on the palate, but this just has great sweet orangey notes, which you don't necessarily get a lot on other bourbons. So I think it'd be a cool bottle to showcase the different flavors you can get out of a bourbon. Now, some of these are hard to get. I get it. That's what I was just kind of thinking when I was drinking it. That'd be a good one to like kind of give like, you know, to someone that wants to try to figure out some notes and maybe they can get the orange note off of A. Anyways, let's go to B. Boop. It was so good. And then the last lingering note isn't my favorite, but we'll get to that. So on the palate, oak, sweet, red fruit, brown sugar, red apples, pear, all good. I really enjoy the palate, you know, very complex, tasty. We get to the finish, walnut right away, which cool. Oak, sweet, red fruit. And then that lingering note is like that empty peanut shell, which isn't my favorite. And I said it a lot. Sorry for repeating myself, but it's one of those notes that I feel like I find on the finish a lot, and it's not my favorite. Anyways, let's go to second sip. All right, second sip. Didn't get the empty shell note on the finish. So the palate remains the same. On the finish got better. The empty shell note kind of went away. I got strawberries and cream there. Definitely a lot better on the second sip, which I feel like usually the second sip or third sip kind of is the best sip usually for the pours. That sip, delicious. I got some vanilla fudge, strawberry on the palate, and on the finish some spice. So overall, B's excellent. So far I liked A and B, which again, hoping I like all of them, but it's just gonna make it harder for me to figure out which one I like out of the blind. But yeah, B was good. Let's go see. All right, first sip on C. Not my favorite, not going to lie. So nutty, woody, slight grainy note, which I don't expect graininess, youthfulness out of any of these because they're all pretty older stuff. Sweet, hazelnut on the finish, nutty, chocolate, hazelnut. It doesn't live up to A and B on the first sip, but it's the first sip. So gotta give everything multiple sips to really find out. So second sip, yeah. Ooh, okay. I got a little cinnamon note on the linger here. Slight dark fruit on the palate. On the finish, I was getting some dark cherry and some cherry on the linger. Did I say cherry? Cinnamon on the linger. But still, because again, in the back of my head, I know all these are 140 and above. This one to me doesn't live up to that price point. One more. The finish does last for a while. A little spice on it, but overall, it's just not as good as the first two. I could see it being good like on its own. I think just coming off of A and B, it's just not living up to it because it's not as complex as these two. And this is more woody, oaky, darker profile. Let's go D. Interesting. So D and C are similar with like just overall profile. It's oak, nutty, green apples, green grapes, spice, sourness, sweet, green Jolly Rancher. On the finish, peanut butter, oak, hazelnut, green Jolly Rancher. Very unique. I'll give it that. It is a unique experience. I'm not sure if all these notes are working well together, but second sip. Okay, second sip. Nothing new on the palate. A little spice, vanilla on the finish. Again, it's it's an interesting pour. That's nothing wrong with it. It's just some of these flavors are all over the place for me. Okay, one more. Damn it. Season the wood. Season the wood. Does linger for a while. All right, nothing new on the third sip on D. So what I'm gonna do here is I'll pause it. I'll A/B these and come back when it scores and new notes. Be right back. Well, that was a lot of fun. So I do got some new notes on, I think 3 out of these. Definitely got some scores, but first let's do the giveaway. If you want to enter to win 2-ounce samples of all 4 of these, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment with, oh God, there's vowels. Let's see what we do. O-R-B-O. Orbo? Count the letters. O-R-B-O. Hopefully that's not some kind of crazy acronym for something stupid. All right, so in last place, we have the Bardstown Discovery, which is probably the easiest one to get. I'm sorry, guys. Scores to 3.5. This is the one I didn't get any new notes on. It is the cheapest, so there's that, I guess. But it's not bad. It's just some of these were just a lot better than this one. So there's that. So score 3.5. So then in fourth place was the Old Sport, the most expensive one, of course. A 3.75. I did write, does that say sweeter? I can't read my own writing, but I think it says sweeter red fruit. And the sweeter is comparing it to the Bardstown because I went back and forth on those two right away. So it was sweeter red fruit. So I did enjoy the Old Sport over the Bardstown. Then it comes down to these two over here. And my winner, barely, and maybe both these will get into my top 25. We'll see. I'm gonna have to do like a top 50 list. Who knows? But the Remus Gatsby 2025 edition, that scored 4.2. I got some toasted marshmallow notes on the finish, so that one won. And the Old Swagger, which was also very delicious, I got some baking spices on the finish, and I scored a 4.1. So both of them scored very well. I would have to compare it to any other scores I've done. Obviously, I scored this recently as well, and this one I scored a while ago. So I'll kind of see the averages and kind of see if they fit into the top 25. I have a whole list of my top 50 basically over there, so I got to do a lot of math. There'll be a couple more episodes like this where I'm comparing, you know, the fringe bottles that might be getting in my top 25. I did clean up everything for Whiskey Cigar Club, but now I have a bunch of bottles back on the table. So I see other bottles up there that I need to review probably for Wednesday. And then I got a special bottle from Santa recently, and I have a whole video for that one for Friday because it is a rye, and we love our Fridays around here. So don't do nothing stupid, and if you do, don't get caught. Bye.